You were never meant to fit into a box. And it's because you're here to help build a new world. Now, I know that might sound like an out there kind of claim, but worlds are built from the grassroots. And the reason why you maybe have felt like you don't fit in, or maybe you feel like you've been dropped off on the wrong planet, and maybe if you're an entrepreneur, you feel like you don't really quite fit into the business systems that are being taught to you, the things that are being shown to you. And it's because you're not meant to fit into those systems. You are meant to be a trailblazer. You're meant to be a way maker and a way shower. And that could be in your business, but it can also be in your personal life, in your family relationships, in your friendships, in the way that you show up in the world. From the smallest ways that we show up in the world, ripples are made. From the words that we say, from the intentions that we have, from the actions that we take, from just the way that we show up in the world, that sends out a ripple effect that has an impact. And I've gotten pushback on that in the past, and people are like, oh, well, that sounds like too much responsibility. But do we not want to live in a world where people take responsibility for themselves and for how they show up and for how their actions impact the world? And wouldn't the world be a better place if more people were responsible and took responsibility for how they show up in relationship, in business, in everyday experiences? Isn't that the kind of world that we want? And maybe responsibility isn't quite the right word. Maybe we can look at this as a devotion, as devoting our lives to creating the kind of world that we want to live in. Devoting our words, our energy, our attention, our actions to creating the kind of experience we want to have in this world. Creating the kinds of relationships we want to have, creating the kinds of friendships we want to have, creating the kinds of businesses we want to have, creating the kinds of conversations that we want to have, creating the kind of grounded presence that can meet other people where they're at, that can soften hardened hearts, that can reach the depths of another in such a way that hearts and minds are changed. That is the power and the potency and the presence of love. Love isn't always soft and fluffy and frilly. Sometimes it's intense. It's a tidal wave. It's a cleansing river. It's a purifying fire. Sometimes love is loud. Sometimes love is protective. But when we lead from love, when we lead with our hearts, when we devote ourselves to showing up in integrity as much as possible, keeping our side of the street clean, showing up, being present, and taking responsibility and owning our stuff and really working together from a grounded, authentic, honest place. Why would we not want to take responsibility for that? Why would we not want to build intentionally? Why would we not want to connect with each other intentionally, authentically, in a responsible and caring and devoted manner? A lot of the things that we're seeing in the world that are hard to witness are the opposite of what I've just spoken about. And this is why it's so important for the people who are wanting to see change in this world to be it. Paraphrasing Gandhi here. And maybe that's the reason why, if this is resonating for you and you've stayed this far into this video, maybe that's why you don't fit in any of the boxes. You don't fit in any of the boxes of transactional relationships where you're just looking to another person based on what you can get out of them and the connection. Same with business. Maybe you don't fit into the box of building business relationships from a one-sided place. Maybe you want to build more heart-centered business relationships with people who are also in that devotional space. Maybe you don't fit in any of these boxes because you're meant to create new ones in a new frequency, with a new intention, with a new energy, with a new groundedness and a new presence and a new responsibility. Maybe that's why. Maybe you're not meant to fit in these boxes because you're meant to blaze a new trail. You're meant to show a new way. And this doesn't always have to be on a grand scale. Maybe you're feeling out of alignment with a certain dynamic that's been active and alive in your family for generations. Maybe you're the one who wants to start a new dynamic, a healthy dynamic, an open dynamic, an authentic dynamic in the family system. And maybe when you do that, it's chaotic at first. But as you hold the line, you start to see things shift around you. And then you start to see the ripple effect of this new way. You start to see people healing around you. You start to see people connecting in a new way. That's just one example. But I think it applies to so many different applications. When we start at home in ourselves, listening to our intuition, taking responsibility for what's ours, taking responsibility for how we show up in every aspect of life, then that starts to ripple out in ways that we may never even see. But this is how new worlds are built. So maybe you're not meant to fit in any of the old boxes. Maybe you're here to create something new from devotion, from presence, from responsibility, from an intentional place. That's all I've got for this one today. Let me know if this resonated. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Thank you for liking and sharing these videos. It helps the channel grow like you wouldn't believe. If you're interested in channel memberships, that info is in the description box below. Also, the link for my book is down below, and I will see you in the next one. Lots of love.